From the combined crew of blindandroidusers.com and accessibleandroid.com, it's time for your favorite Android podcast. Kick back now and enjoy another fine episode from these fanboys and gals as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here's your crew. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 250 of the Blind Android Users podcast. We're recording today, September the 20th, 2025. I'm Warren here in Washington alongside with
John Dyer from Virginia.
And Kareen from Lebanon.
Coming up in this episode, we have the One UI 8 for the qualifying S25 series. Following that, we have an app of the week where our friend Reese demonstrates Joplin and Note Taker. That's followed by the Talkback highlight, and thereafter we have another CSR entry from Kareen, and we close today's episode with a tip of the week as we continue our mini-series on some of the new features found on the Pixel 10 series. Welcome to episode 250. John, let's begin with you. We'll save the best for last, that is asking the pretty girl later on about well-being. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Well, I'm good today. This past week, we had an issue where I had to go up in the attic at 3 o'clock in the morning because our chimney started leaking to try to catch water with buckets.
Oh no!
So I spent all night
at 3 in the morning.
Yes.
Doggone it!
I had to catch the water before it destroyed my house, and then. But luckily, even though it poured heavily for like 24 hours, it hasn't rained since, and we're scheduled to get it repaired on Monday. So hopefully it'll hold up until then. If not, I'll be spending some more time up there.
Oh my goodness, you guys have that much rain. That's absolutely crazy. You know, we actually had some rain here too, a couple times in this September, maybe 3, which is very abnormal because we usually hardly have any rain. And so I was surprised that we actually have like rain like 3 days, I mean, not back to back, but already 3 times in September, which is very abnormal for us. But gosh, that's too much. Kareen girl, how about you? Is it raining too, or it's just kind of raining figs and apples?
Well, it rained. Yeah, it rained this week. Just a little bit of rain, but it rained, and the weather wasn't cold, so it was just lovely to sit outside and just relax under the raindrops. So that was cool, and everything's going well here. What about you?
Great. As indicated, we had a little bit of rain this month, which I was very happy about because then I didn't have to water my lawn or something like that. But we're doing well. This week, though, we have the fair. The fair started here this weekend. And so my little girl's going to the fair. I don't remember the last time that I was at the fair. It's just too expensive. I can't believe that this year, just the entry fee is like $15, and then, all the rides. So, if you're going, because I know when we used to go, like 5 of us from our family, gosh, we spend like $500. And now if we're all to go, it'll be a lot. So I'm not going, but the little girl is going with her friends. And so they're looking forward to some fun time. I know someone like John's Jack would love to be part of that fair.
I'm gonna have to start doing these things again. For the longest time, I've just stayed away from anything outdoors during the summer. But now that I have a kid that's gonna want to do this stuff, I'm gonna have to get back into it.
Yeah, we were doing that stuff with the kids all the time, and I remember riding the teacup with the kids, and I kind of felt sick, just going round and around. I couldn't stand it. I mean, I couldn't go on a little kid's ride, but I'll go on a big roller coaster, but not, a teacup or something silly. It just got me sick. So watch out for teacups, John, at least, but Jack is not going to go on a teacup.
We have a Busch Gardens. It's in an amusement park, if you want to call it that, near here in Williamsburg. And yeah, that's going to be our destination once he realizes it's a thing. We're probably going to have to go every year.
No, it's really good. Yeah. We started taking our kids on there. We even put our kid on one of them. She was 6 months old, and the grandma saw it when we recorded it, and she was pissed. So there you have it. All right, but I'm glad we got it done to where I don't have to go anymore because my girl is old enough and the kids are old enough to do it on their own. I don't have to go there. And food is so expensive. Just a waste of money, but it's fun. Welcome to the Spotlight segment. This is a segment dedicated to interviews with developers or interesting happenings in the world of Android. And now for this week's episode, here's your Spotlight. Well, now let's move on to our first item on our menu, and that's the Samsung One UI 8. It's a big thing, John, that we got. I know you have it on your S25 series. How about talk to us about some of the things that works and some of the things that don't work? But I know this is a big one.
Okay, so I mean, I'll start with the positive because there's a big negative. But some of the things that work, they did correct the fingerprint direction issue where it used to always say move up no matter where you would touch on your lock screen. Now it actually directs you correctly towards the fingerprint sensor.
Hoorah! Thank you.
Yeah.
That's good.
They've also improved, I mean, structurally, if you want to call it structurally, the layout and everything, it's basically the same as what we had in One UI 7. So you're not going to notice much, but they have corrected some little things, like now the play controls are labeled on the lock screen. The buttons, it used to be that when you Kareen, do you know if when you long press on a notification, if those buttons are labeled in One UI 7 or not?
I can check it.
Because if I'm not mistaken, that was not fixed in One UI 7, but maybe it was. If it's not fixed in One UI 7, it definitely has been fixed in One UI 8. That's another improvement. They've also improved on the quick settings, where there's the volume slider. There's a button next to it to change the ringer mode. So there's ring, vibrate, and off. And it used to just say like it used to just say on, off. That's all it would say as you were cycling through it. Now it actually tells you like of what it's actually turning it on to. Like it'll say vibrate. It'll say the button is. It'll tell you the state of it, and it'll tell you what it will do when you press it. So it's working perfectly fine now, and you do know which mode you're in, and you definitely know which mode you're changing to. So I have fixed that.
Regarding notifications, when you long press notification, I didn't see any unlabeled button. No, I tried. It has the turn off notification and the details. So
okay,
I think that this was fixed in One UI 7.
Okay, yeah, so that was already fixed. But yeah, that's all I've noticed so far. Those are the good things.
Yeah, no, really, I think for me, though, the big one is that fingerprint reader, because it was a problem, right? Someone who's not very familiar with their phone would be kind of pulling their hair. Well, I'm almost up to the top. And it's kind of telling me to move up to the top, basically confusing people as to where exactly that fingerprint is if you're not familiar with it. So for me, this is a big plus on Samsung's part for fixing that, because it was a bad one.
Yeah, it was. But you want to know what's even worse than that is not being able to use your phone with the screen hidden. And that's a bug that's been introduced with One UI 8. So keep this in mind if you're going to be getting this update and installing it anytime soon. What's happened is if you're using Samsung's TalkBack and you hide the screen, you can no longer use Explore by Touch or any pass-through gestures, meaning any two-finger scroll gestures or even the actual pass-through gesture that is to double tap and hold with 4 fingers by default. That doesn't even work. So you basically have to just swipe through everything, double tap, or use the other multi-finger gestures or the ankle gestures, and that's all you can do. And not only does it make it pretty much unusable, it creates an issue where if you install the update with your screen hidden, your phone will reboot, and when it comes back up, you have to swipe up with 2 fingers the first time to put in your pin or pattern, and you won't be able to do that. So you'll get stuck, basically. And what you'll have to work around is to unhide your screen, which most people will not think of to even try. But hopefully if you're hearing this and you're getting the update soon, and you run into this problem, I mean, I recommend unhiding it immediately before you even install the update. But if you end up in this situation, then you'll have to unhide the screen by using the TalkBack menu, or if you've assigned a gesture to it, you can unhide it that way. And then you'll be able to swipe up with 2 fingers and put in your pin or pattern.
That is really interesting, that is not working. So I'm thinking probably maybe when one hides the screen, there's something in there that is not allowing it to see what is being done. But this is why, guys, we've been talking about the fact that these companies need to at the very least, have some blind person in there, to test those things like that. Because if there had been a blind person working for them, I mean, even if you guys, Samsung, even if you're only wanting to pay that person $500 a month, I think it's worth it, right, Kareen? I believe it's worth paying $500 because that guy would have found it, because a lot of us probably use that hide screen. I know I personally don't use it. I've never used my phone with a hidden screen, but there are times I can see why that would come in handy. For example, if you're commuting on a bus, for example, or on a train or whatever transport method you're on, where you have other people, for example, I'm not sure you want everyone seeing your screen. So it makes sense to have that hidden screen. And if that breaks that feature of being able to interact with the phone, then that blind person is messed up, is toast. And so, come on, guys, help us get some blind person in there. Kareen, do you want to work for Samsung? I know you're kind of not liking them anymore. What's the issue?
For $500, I'm going to take the job. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
You don't like that?
No, I'm going to take the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because it's not much, but at least though you are helping the blind community. Because for me, even if I'm to do it for free, I wouldn't mind doing it for free, to be honest. But because I'm looking out for my friends. I'm looking out for my people. My people.
Well, you don't need to make it for free for a big company like Samsung.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
You're right, but that's how passionate I am about accessibility. I wouldn't mind doing it for free because I know I'm helping a blind person somewhere.
Yeah, but the problem with depending on people doing it for free is you get people like me who I've been running the beta for 2 months, but I'm not even using Samsung's TalkBack. I'm using Google's TalkBack on there. Had they been paying me, I would have been using Samsung's TalkBack, even though I don't like it. So it's clear that they didn't have anybody testing this that actually hides their screen, because it would have been very obvious. Like most of the time my screen is not hidden, but I hide it often enough that I would have definitely noticed this and reported it within the 2 months of testing the beta, had I been running the Samsung's version.
For a long time, you've been running the beta for a while before you got this final release. So really, Samsung, quit being greedy. We need to have blind people everywhere, really, because they help in detecting this type of things. But what version of TalkBack, though, does it come with? Does it have 16.1 or just 16?
It has 16.0 without any good image description features. So, yeah, it's based on 16.0.
Wow, I'm surprised they still don't have that image description. So this is why, in my never to be humble opinion, Samsung should just have TalkBack coming directly from the Play Store instead of their own store. I don't know why this is so hard to do, but anyway, I'm hoping and praying that this becomes the norm very soon and very soon. Dancing Queen?
I'm waiting until October to get the update.
Well, October is not too far from here, Kareen. We're talking of less than 2 weeks. Hopefully, though, that they will push it out early October.
Yeah, and then I'll hide the screen and use Samsung TalkBack and try it.
Yeah, hide the screen and see what happens. I know that my S23 Plus qualified for the beta, but when I went in there and tap on join, and it says one needs an unlocked device, and mine is unlocked, factory unlocked. However, I'm still waiting. It hasn't shown up. And I hope it's not like the last time that I had to use a SIM card. John, do you know if that is still the case?
That's what I was about to tell you. I usually have to have I don't know if it's still the case, but at one point I had to have a SIM card in there for it to work.
Yeah, because it didn't work for me when I was joining the 7 beta. I had to put in a SIM card in there before it worked. But, when I went there this time, it says you needed an unlocked phone, and I'm using an unlocked phone that does not have a SIM card. So this is one of those things that I don't like Samsung for. Their betas are kind of, I want to use the word, but I can't use it on here.
I'll use it.
Frankly, they need to do better with the betas because it's not very intuitive and it's a hit or miss. I don't.
It's hard to get into the beta, and then they put so much regional restrictions and carrier restrictions on it, and then on top of that, they close it after a certain amount of people. Like they said, they'll straight up tell you that this isn't open anymore. Too many people have already joined, and it's like, why do you want to limit the amount of people that are testing this? The more people that are testing it, the better.
Exactly. And the funniest thing is that when I went into the options, I found the leave the beta, and so I tap on it. It says, "Are you sure you want to exit out of the beta?" And I said no, but I haven't had it. So I think I'm going to put in an old SIM card if I could find it, because I don't have a physical SIM card. Maybe I'll ask. You know what? None of my family has a physical SIM card either, because my wife is invisible, and so is my daughter, and they're both using, the eSIM. So I don't know. I hope I find an old SIM card, and I'll put it in there and see if I could get it. Well, alongside with all of that, we also have the Google QPR based on Android 16, and the Pixel 10 finally qualifies for that QPR program, and that would allow you to get that QPR2 Beta 2. I got that, but not much really has changed. A lot of those things are just visuals. Mine came in at 3.1 gigs when I got it all downloaded. However, there are probably maybe a couple of things that worth the mention here. In other words, something in the privacy settings where you could use your Pixel device, your phone, as a step counter, apart from using maybe something like your watch and all of that. So I'm going to go into my system settings. I'm going to unlock my screen here.
9:45 a.m. System UI. Device unlocked. Settings. System. Languages, gestures, time.
So I'm in the system settings, and what we want to do is to go into that privacy.
Security and privacy. App security. Device lock permissions. 20 of 29.
And we tap here.
Security and privacy.
And we need to go down to
Privacy controls. Permissions. Controls. 11 of 17.
There we go. And
Privacy controls. Navigate up. Button.
then
Out of
here
list.
we're looking at
Health Connect. Manage app access to health data. 5 of 14. In
Health
list, 14
Connect.
items.
So if we tap on here,
Health Connect. Navigate up. Button. Out of list.
so here in the Health Connect, you could tap on,
See setup button.
there's a setup.
No recent access. Apps which have recently accessed your data will automatically.
And if you tap on setup, you could add a device, or if you go down toward the bottom and tap on devices.
Devices. Manage your connected devices. 6 of 8.
So it doesn't matter which one you tap on, whether you tap on setup or add devices. So if I tap on add devices
Navigate up button. Out of list.
and I put
Showing
my
items
finger
1 to 2
near
of
the
2.
top,
Pixel 10 Pro XL. Current device 2 of 2. In list 2
so
items.
it shows that as my current device. And if I tap on it,
Device info. Navigate up button.
you
Out
have
of list.
the
Step manage device. Steps on. Switch 4 of
steps
7.
are on.
Manage device. Heading 5 of 7.
And so
See device data. 6 of 7.
if you have your watches connected to it, you'll see that in here alongside with the devices as well.
Devices.
But so that's another thing that I saw that is there. But the other thing that
So
we
if you
also-
have, let me comment on this first. If you have a Pixel Watch and a Pixel phone, does that mean you get twice as many steps?
oh yeah, maybe you get double steps. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
And does it actually make you burn twice as many calories? That
It
would
should
be
make
nice
you
too.
burn twice the number of calories that you could have had. But so but the whole idea, so you could have that, your watch could be accessing it. So if you don't want to use your watch, at least you can still have your
Yeah, that would be
your phone doing it.
that would be nice because I've had days where I forgot to put my watch on. It sounds silly, but once you get used to tracking this sort of stuff,
Yeah.
if you go for like a long walk and you realize like
You
you
didn't have
don't
your
have your watch on, you're like, oh man, I just
I
went for a
forgot
walk
it
for
is on.
nothing.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to have your phone. Like you'll never leave. Well, at least I would never leave without my phone. So at least it would be nice to have that backup method for tracking your steps in that event that you forgot to put your watch on or something.
Now, the other thing that I'm thinking of, and I thought about you, John and Sally, I'm looking at cookies, and I'm like, those boys probably like their cookies. So it has to do with that home screen or icon changing of icons. So I'm going to,
Home screen 1 of 5.
here's my home screen. So I'm going to swipe down and bring up the,
Wallpaper and style.
so, wallpaper and style, and I tap.
Wallpaper and style. Navigate up.
So what happens is that we scroll down toward the bottom and we find
Icons. Circle. Default.
icons, and by default is the circle. Now, if I tap here,
Navigate up.
so starting from the bottom left, we got the choices. I think we've got 5. So the default is the circle.
Selected. Circle 1 of 5.
So we
In
got
list,
circle,
5
and
items.
then to the right of it,
Square 2 of 5.
there's a square.
4-sided cookie 3 of 5.
And this is where I was thinking of John and Sally. That cookie, you guys probably would be setting yours to a cookie. And then to the right of that,
7-sided cookie 4 of 5.
a 7-sided cookie. Maybe we'll throw that to Kareen. And the last one here
Arch 5 of 5.
is the arch. So here's how it works. So for example, if let's say I choose,
Square 2 of 5.
no, I think
4-sided cookie 3 of 5.
let's say I choose the cookie.
4-sided cookie. Selected.
There you go. Now that I tapped on 4-sided cookie, now near the top right corner is an apply button.
Apply. Out of list. Home lock screen wallpaper preview.
So I've applied that, and
Icons. 4-sided cookie. Default.
see now 4-sided cookie is my default. I think I
Navigate up.
prefer my
Circle 1 of 5.
circle.
Select.
I would change it to square if it would solve the issue with the Pixel launcher where when you're exploring, it keeps going to the home screen between icons. That I know it doesn't bother you, but that bothers
Oh,
me so much.
Let me try that.
Square 2 of 5.
I would have to guess that it doesn't fix it, but
And then
Maybe it makes it a little better.
Home screen, lock screen, wallpaper preview,
yeah. So,
layout, icons, square, default,
and of course, below that is
layout,
that
small,
layout where you got the
navigate, selected, small, 1
small,
of, medium, 2 of 4, large, 3 of 4, XL, 4 of 4,
all of that stuff. So I got mine set to
Oh.
square.
home screen, 1, Gemini,
Yeah. So those are the two things that I think that are probably of that worth the mention, if you will. Other than that,
Something I wanted to mention about the
lots of it is
icons,
visuals.
the
Yeah.
icon theming, is that now and this, I mentioned it because although it's not an accessibility feature, it might help some low vision people. If you set them to be monochrome themed, what used to happen is that you had to depend on the app developer to supply a monochrome version of their app icon. So if you turned this on, you'd have some monochrome, some not, because developers just don't do this kind of thing, right? So Google has changed their Play Store rules to say, if you don't supply us one, we'll automatically create one. So now you can actually turn on the monochrome theme for your icons, and they will all be monochrome. So I know at this point in my vision loss, it doesn't make a difference to me, but I do remember when this would have been very helpful for me to have them monochrome.
You are right, John. And that is right there alongside with this icon stuff. So for example,
icons, square,
if I
default,
tap here,
navigate,
and then at the bottom right, you're going to find that button that says
off, themed icons, switch,
so by default it's turned off, but if you tap on this, it's going to apply that theme to all of the icons, even if the guy didn't do it. So it's going to be like a monochrome kind of looking thing. But if you don't like that, because some people may not like it, but some may, but this is where you turn that on. So if I tap on that,
on,
see, and then
apply,
you tap apply
home
there
screen,
on the
lock
top
screen, wallpaper
right
preview,
corner. And so visually, my
home,
whatever will take
home,
that. Yeah, and I can see it, because I can see a little bit, and I'm looking at some of my icons now, and they're looking kind of dark, So that's how you go about that. And thanks, John, for bringing that into the discussion, because that's one of those things, part of the visuals. Up next is the App of the Week segment. This is a segment dedicated to app demonstrations. Should you have an app that you would like to demonstrate for our listeners, feel free to send us the recording of such an app demo to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And now for this week's episode, here's your App of the Week. We now move on to the App of the Week, and our friend Reese is demonstrating a note-taking app called Joplin, Joplin. Here is Reese now to demonstrate this great note-taker.
Hello, this is Riz for blindandroidusers.com. Today I'm going to demonstrate for you an app called Joplin, Joplin. Joplin is a note-taking app which has some very good features but has some caveats which I will explain. So first, let me go and locate the app on my home screen. Just so everybody knows, I'm running Android version 16 and I'm also on TalkBack version 16.0 on a Google Pixel 10 using the Acapella synthesizer.
Home.
Okay, so now I'm on my home screen, so let me go and find Joplin.
Starling of Joplin.
Okay, now I'm going to open
Joplin.
And it is open. Now, usually when you open Joplin, you'll get, I do believe, the notes you've been working on going down the screen. Your first main focus is the top left-hand corner button. That button is what I'm going to touch first.
Sidebar. Button. Show hide the sidebar.
Okay, so it says sidebar, show or hide the sidebar. Okay, and I was right. So when you first come into the screen, it will start on your all notes, and you can actually navigate with headings in some aspects of Joplin. So I'm going to first talk to you about some of the caveats with Joplin, okay? First thing is, it has various different ways of saving your notes. You could save it to various cloud locations such as Dropbox and OneDrive. It has its own cloud service which is paid for, so you have to pay for that. And there are various subscription options available to you. Now, without that option, there is no collaboration. So you have to actually pay for collaboration, which is one of its downsides. You can't collaborate for free, although you can use, like right now I'm using OneDrive and it's free. So you can, if you're not collaborating, then you can just use OneDrive. Now, one of the biggest advantages for me of Joplin is something that other note takers don't have, and that's you can create folders within folders within folders, which is what I like. In terms of its structure, it's pretty straightforward and simple, and there are a couple of things I do want to talk to you about regarding it. So first, we're going to go into settings, because there are a couple of things that need to be addressed there.
Side menu opened. Close side menu. Button.
So I've opened the side menu. Most of the things you want to go to you will find in here.
Configuration. Button.
Now let's go to
Side menu
configuration.
closed. Back. Button.
Now, in configuration, there are various different categories.
General language. Date format. Tab. Appearance. Themes. Editor font. Tab. Synchronization. Sync. Encryption. Proxy. Tab. Plugins. Enable or disable plugins. Tab. Markdown. Media player. Math. Diagrams. Table of contents. Tab. Note. Geolocation. Spell check. Editor toolbar. Image resize. Tab. Note history. Toggle note history. Keep notes for. Tab. Tools. Logs. Profiles. Sync status. Tab. Import and export. Import or export your data. Tab. More information. Donate website. Tab.
Okay, so those are our options that we have available to us. Now, the first one I'm going to highlight, because this is quite important, is
Geolocation. Spell check. Editor toolbar. Image resize. Tab.
this one. Here, it's...
Opening session note. Save geolocation with notes.
Now, there are various options here, but there's one particular option I want to go to first.
If the plain text editor has various issues and is no longer supported. If you are having issues with the new enable spell check in the text, enable the markdown. Use the plain text editor.
Okay, there it is. Use the plain text editor. So let me just go back 1 second. So,
General language. Plugins. Enable or disable markdown. Media player. Math. Dive. Note. Geolocation. Spell check. Editor toolbar. Image resize. Tab.
okay, so that's the one we want. Note, edit, toolbar, image resize, that kind of thing. So let's go back in
Opening session
there
note.
again.
Save geolocation with notes.
Right, so now there are two editors. It has a markdown editor and it has a plain text editor. In my experience, on Android, the best option is the plain text editor. Now, they do say that the plain text editor is not supported, but I spoke to the developers about this and they said it should not be an issue. Now, I have discovered an issue and I will report the issue to them. The issue I've found, and it's a minor one, is when you're deleting items from a note, for instance, you're deleting characters or words, what happens is it doesn't tell you what you've deleted. So I will actually contact them about that. So let's just show you what I'm talking about.
The plain text editor has various issues and is no longer supported. If you are having issues with the new editor, however, you can revert. Switch on. Use the plain text editor.
Use a plain text editor.
Switch on. Use the plain text editor.
Make sure that is on. It's the best way to read with paragraphs and everything else. So that's one setting you'll definitely have to change. And there's another one.
General language. Date format. Tab.
So now we need to go to sync.
Markdown. Media player. Math. Note. Note history. Toggle. Tools. Log. Note. Mark. Plugins. Enable. Synchronization. Sync. Encryption. Opening. Synchronization target. One drop. Synchronization target.
Okay, so the top option is synchronization target. Now,
OneDrive. Button. Synchronization target opens dropdown.
I've got mine set to OneDrive. You have to go here, set this first, and then when you tap the sync button, then especially if it's first time, when you tap the sync button, that's when you set up your synchronization. For instance, when I set up the one for OneDrive, I had to add my OneDrive, my Microsoft account. That way I was able to synchronize it. So you tap this on, you choose whichever option you want. Like I said, in this case, I chose OneDrive. Then when you go to sync it, and I'll show you where the sync button is in a minute, then it will ask you to log in with your Microsoft account. So you can sync it with OneDrive. And there are, like I said, there are Dropbox options and a few other ones, and they have their own, of course. So those are the two main options that I would recommend definitely having a look at. So let's come back out to settings, because if I continue to go through all the setting options, we'll be here forever.
General language, date format, tab.
And I'm going to come back out.
Search button. Configuration heading. Back button. Configure save change back. Save changes button
Now,
disabled.
The save changes option is just at the top left, not in the corner, but just a little bit to the right of the top left corner. If you've made any changes, make sure you tap that. Otherwise, it'll prompt you to tap that anyway when you back out. I'm going to go back again.
Sidebar button. Show hide the sidebar.
And now we're back in our main screen, which has your all notes active. And in the top left-hand corner, there is a sidebar. Okay, now before I go into the notes, let me tap the sidebar.
Side menu opened. Close side menu button.
Side menu opened. Now.
Tags button. New notebook button. Configuration button. Tags button. Configuration. Synchronize button.
The synchronize button is right there at the bottom. You tap that and it'll synchronize your notes to whichever service you've got them synchronized to. Okay. Now, let's talk about creating a new note.
Tags. New notebook button.
So kind of partway up the middle, not quite in the middle, is when you open your menu, your sidebar menu. When you open that, you'll get your various notebooks. Below that, you'll get your trash folder. And below that, you will get your create new notebook. So if I tap on that,
side menu closed. Enter notebook title. Edit box. Editing. Showing English. UK.
Enter notebook
PC.
title, and then you just get to enter whatever title you want.
Select parent notebook button. Selects a notebook.
Now,
Opens drop down.
once you've done that, you have an option to select a parent notebook. And this is what I was talking about before. This is a feature I like a lot, because you can then nest your notebooks into other notebooks, and go so on and so forth. But we're not going to create a new notebook here.
Keyboard hidden.
We're going to back out.
Sidebar button. Show hide the sidebar.
And we're back to our main screen again. Now, the other feature this app has is
Lindsay Fox. Tags. Configuration button. Tags button.
tags. Just above the configuration button are tags. So you can actually create tags as well if you want to. I haven't done because I like the folder system, but you can easily create tags. Now, all that said, let's go and have a look at a basic structure I created earlier.
Trash button opens voice of earth button test button opens notebook.
Okay, so here we have a notebook called test.
Expand test switch off.
Now, if you imagine on Windows, you have a tree type structure where you have to open it and then you get other sub options. This is how Joplin works. If you create folders within folders. So
test button opens
my
notebook.
test folder here is at the moment closed. If I
Expand
open
test
it,
switch on.
right, so I've expanded it now. If I go
Press button opens notebook. Test button opens notebook. Notebook 1 level 1 button opens notebook.
notebook 1, so it tells me it's level 1, which means that's a notebook within the test notebook. So if I go first into the test notebook.
Notebook 1 level 1 button test button opens notebook.
Okay, so if you press on
Side menu
test,
closed. Sidebar button show hide the sidebar.
now what will happen is you'll see the top left,
Test heading.
you'll have the test. That's the name of the notebook, and under that
Page 1 button opens note.
is page 1. Now that is because I created a test page here, which is under the test notebook. Okay, so if we tap on this now.
Test heading. Page 1 button opens note. Back button.
Okay, so now we open the note. Now in the top left hand corner, you heard it said back, so you can just go back from there if you want to. Now, it comprises of two edit boxes here. The top one is title.
Page 1 test button selects a note. Page 1 edit. This is a test page to demonstrate the features of page 1 edit box add title.
There you go. So that's your title. Then
Web view.
under that you have.
This is a test page to I am writing this to get enough. This is a test page to demonstrate the features of Joplin.
Okay, so this is text I wrote myself. Now, if I move with paragraphs and words to show you that it works.
Screen search. Characters. Words. This is a test page to demonstrate the features of Joplin.
So that works perfectly fine.
Paragraphs. I am writing this to get an idea of how easy it is to navigate in the pages of the Joplin app.
So as you can tell, I just moved one paragraph down and it read it perfectly fine.
This is a test page to demonstrate the features of Joplin.
And that's, I've just gone up one paragraph. So you can easily edit text. It's, apart from the deleting function, which I think is a new little issue, which I will mention to the developers, everything else seems to work perfectly fine. Now, just for fun, if we go back,
Sidebar button.
we can.
Page 1 button opens note. Add new button.
We have an add new button. So let me have a look.
Sort notes by page 1 button opens note.
Oh yeah, you can sort your notes.
Page 1 button open sort notes by button.
That's in the top right hand corner. Now the add new button.
Page 1 button add new button. New note button.
Okay, so when you go into the add new, you have various options. You have
Attachment button creates a scan notebook button creates a new note with an attachment of type scan notebook.
You have a scan notebook. I'm not familiar with that because I have not used that yet. These options, by the way, are near the bottom of the screen.
Attachment button creates a new note with an attachment of type attachment.
So you can create a notebook with an attachment. So you can actually add voice recordings and all sorts of images or anything else you want to attach to your notebook.
Recording button creates a new note with an attachment of type recording.
You can create a new note with the type attachment recording. So you can add a recording to your note.
Camera button creates a new note with an attachment of type camera.
And you can add an image. You can create a note with an image.
Drawing button creates a new note with an attachment of type drawing. New to do button.
Now we have to do options as well. So you can create either to do or you can create notes.
New note button.
And new notes is right there in the bottom right hand corner. So that's the those are the options you get when you want to create a new note.
Joplin.
Now we're not going to do that. What we're going to do now is I'm going to show you. We have page 1.
Page 1 button opens
Let's
note.
go and find page 2. So to do that,
button opens note. Sidebar button show hide the sidebar.
if we go and
Side menu opened. Close side menu. Button.
open our side menu again, and we go to
Trash button opens voice of earth. Button opens notebook test. Button opens notebook selected.
now.
Notebook 1 level 1 button opens notebook.
Notebook 1 is under the test notebook. So let's go in there.
Side menu closed. Sidebar button show hide the sidebar. Page 2 button opens note.
And we have page 2. So I actually put page 2 here. And then we can open
Back
that.
button. This is a further test to show how Joplin works. Page 2 edit box add title.
So that's my title. And then if we go down.
I'm running out of bland things to say, so I think I will end it here.
So again,
Headings.
it's pretty much exactly the same as it was
Paragraphs.
before.
This is a further test to show how Joplin works. I'm running out of bland things to say, so I think I will end it here.
And that's pretty much all I did. So when you create a new note, you can choose actually where to save that note. In other words, which subfolder to save it in. Or you can edit.
Actions. Notebook 1 button selects a notebook. Actions.
If you go into actions, in the top top right hand corner.
Draw a picture. Share. Voice typing.
So you can. So here are the options you get.
Attach. Draw a picture. Share. Voice typing. Tags. Convert to to-do. Copy markdown link. Copy external link. Properties. Delete.
So you can do all those tasks on each note. So that's on the note itself.
Sidebar button show hide the sidebar. Page 2 button opens note.
In fact, let's open this
Back
note,
button.
and I'll show you something else.
Actions. Notebook 1 button back button.
So this actual note, page 2, is actually under the notebook 1, not where page 1 is. So
Actions.
let's see if we can
Attach. Page 2 button opens note.
open the note.
Back button. Page 2 edit box add title. I'm running out of bland things to say, so I think I will end. This is a further test to show how Joplin works. Page 2 edit box add title. Actions. Notebook 1 button selects a notebook opens drop down.
Okay, there it is. So now at the top it says I can move it by tapping on this because right now it's in the notebook
Close drop
folder.
down.
I can move.
Library menu item.
I can move it to any one of my other folders. I'm not going to do that now because I've got loads of folders and it's going to take too long. But you can actually move it to exactly where you want it. You can move your notes to various different folders or subfolders. And here we have a big list of all the folders I have. And so you just choose the folder you want and that's it. Okay, so I think that's pretty much about it in terms of what I had to say about the app. I think it's a really good app. I do think it's a shame we have to have a subscription service, but that's just the way it is, I suppose. In other words, for collaborations and such, but and it's got one or two of the minor little quirks, but nothing serious. It's a cross-platform app as well, so it works on Windows, it works on Android. I'm assuming it works on the other platforms, but I'm not sure on that one. And so I hope you enjoyed this demonstration. Finally, I'd just like to say I'm sorry for being a bit rusty. I haven't done this in absolute years, so I hope I'm able to impart the information that will be helpful.
Thank you so much, Reese, for that great demonstration. And folks, if you have an app, please help us demonstrate it. Do what Reese did. And so we'll have it from you guys as well, because it probably gets tiring hearing me demonstrating app after app. And so I wish that you guys could also be participating and contributing by demonstrating app, whether you write it out as a text and we could put that on accessibleandroid.com, or you could record an audio and we'll just integrate that into our episode. So please, if you have an app that you really like or you think our friends are going to like, feel free to demonstrate that app and send it to us, and we'll add it onto our podcast episode. And now, for the faithfuls, this is a native Android screen reader segment, simply referred to as Talkback Highlights. This is where some new feature or new happening with Talkback is featured. And now, here's your newest Talkback Highlight. We now move to the Talkback Highlight, and this week John demonstrates how you can go about reassigning some of your Braille gestures on the virtual Talkback Braille keyboard. Here's John now to show you how to go about doing the customization of your Braille keyboard gestures.
Hello and welcome to Talkback Highlights. Today I'll be showing you a new feature that was introduced in Talkback 16.1. And this is the ability to customize gestures in the Braille keyboard. Now, I'll start by saying there's no new functionality in the keyboard, the on-screen Braille keyboard. So you will still be limited to all of the same actions you could have performed before. But if you did not like the gestures or had difficulty performing specific gestures, you can now assign any of those actions to pretty much anything you want. I won't explain the math, and I could be wrong. I've calculated that there are 175 different gesture combinations you can now do. And that's because you're going to combine holding specific dots with specific swipes, and you'll be able to hold any single dot or hold any two dots on the same side, or hold all three dots on either side, and then perform a swipe with the other hand. And that swipe can be a 1, 2, or 3 finger swipe in any of the 4 directions. And then on top of that, there's a few of the regular swipes without holding any keys that you can customize as well. So I will show you how to change these and demonstrate what the process is like. Bringing up the Talkback menu.
Talkback menu. Spoken language. Audio ducking on. Talkback settings.
Going into Talkback settings.
Talkback settings. Navigate up.
And now navigating by heading.
Audio. Controls. Braille.
Under the Braille heading,
Braille keyboard.
we have Braille keyboard.
Braille keyboard. Navigate up.
and swiping.
How to use Braille keyboard.
Again,
Gestures.
here's where you can go to look at the gestures, and now you can customize them.
Braille keyboard gestures. Navigate up.
So going to start swiping.
Basic controls. Add spaces, delete, hide the keyboard, and more.
So you can even customize these basic controls if you want.
Cursor movement. Move by character, word, or line.
Basically anything in any of these sections you can change to a different gesture if you want to.
Text selection and editing. Select copy, cut, paste.
So I'll use this as an example because these are gestures that are kind of difficult in certain situations, especially when you need to swipe up or down with 3 fingers. So I'm going to change some of these gestures.
Text selection and editing. Navigate up. Character.
Going by headings.
Word. Editing.
I'm going to go to the editing heading because this is what I was talking about.
Select all. Hold dot 1 or dot 4, then swipe left anywhere with 3 fingers.
So these are all hold dot 1 or dot 4, and then you have to swipe with 3 fingers in any direction to do the action. So I'm going to change it to, because it's easier to hold 3 fingers and just swipe 1 finger. That's what I'm going to change it to. Going to double tap here.
Select all. Current gesture. Hold dot 1 or dot 4, then swipe left anywhere with 3 fingers.
So I'm going to want to change this to hold 3 dots and swipe left with only 1 finger.
Change gesture.
And the first option we have here is to change gesture. I'll show you the others.
Reset to default.
You can reset it to default
Remove gesture.
or remove it.
Cancel.
So I'm going to go back to reassign the gesture.
Remove gesture. Reset to default. Change gesture.
Double tapping here.
Showing Braille keyboard. Screen away mode. Perform the gesture you want to use for select all. To cancel, swipe down with 2 fingers. Text selection and editing.
So I'm going to hold dots 4, 5, 6 and swipe left with 1 finger.
Hold dots 4, 5, 6, then swipe left anywhere with another finger. To confirm, perform this gesture again.
As you heard, it tells you what you did and asks you to do it again.
Gesture is changed. Do you also want to use that select all action with the mirrored gesture? Hold dots 1, 2, 3, then swipe left anywhere with another finger.
And as you heard there, it asks if I want to also change the reverse gesture, and I will.
Use mirrored gesture. Mirrored gesture changed. Text selection and editing. Select all. Hold dots 1, 2, 3 or dots 4, 5, 6, then swipe left anywhere with another finger.
So you have the option to set it to both, or if you wanted holding dots 1, 2, and 3 and swiping left with 1 finger to do a different action, you could assign it to a different action. I will not continue on changing these, at least not in the recording. I might actually change them for myself, but I'm going to back out of here.
Braille keyboard gestures. Text selection and editing. Select copy, cut, paste.
And show you that at the bottom of this page,
Reset all gestures.
there's a button where you can just easily reset everything.
Reset all gestures. All Braille keyboard gestures will be reset to default.
So I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Reset. All gestures have been reset. Braille keyboard gestures. Reset all gestures.
So if you forget what you've assigned a gesture to, or if you've broken a gesture because you reassigned it, that's an easy way to get it back to its default state without having to clear all of the TalkBack settings by clearing the Android Accessibility Suite data. Another thing I want to mention quickly is that if you customize a proofreading gesture, it will also customize the standard gesture. Just as one example, swiping right with 2 fingers, if you're in proofreading mode, will replace the word. But if you're not in proofreading mode, it will just hit enter, like insert a line break. So customizing one gesture will also customize the other gesture. So if you were hoping to be able to customize individual gestures for proofreading so that you don't actually have to change the reading control to proofread, then you're not going to be able to do that. That's something I tried to do, and like I mentioned, there are customizable, but changing one will change the other as well. So I do think this is a good addition. I wish there were more things you could do with the Braille keyboard. Like, for example, you can only select by characters or words. I wish you could select by lines or paragraphs, or even assign a gesture to navigate by paragraphs. And there are a few other things I would like, but if they give us more functionality in the future, we will have an assortment of gestures that we can assign those actions to. But currently, like I mentioned at the beginning, there's nothing new that you can do here, but you can customize it to work better for you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, John. I know you really love your. If there's anyone that really likes their virtual keyboard, John, you are one of those guys. I suck at it. I'm not ashamed to say it. I kind of prefer the table mode feature, John, but I know you do the hold away screen, and I just can't do it. How do you do that?
Yeah, well, the first thing you need is a case to do it, because I can't do it without a case, because my palms touch the edges of the screen and it just it won't. It thinks I'm pressing things I'm not. But as long as I have a decent sized case on it, it's nice. I use it a lot. I got used to it. I actually got so used to the gestures that I tried to customize these gestures to what I thought would be better, and I keep forgetting to use the new gestures. Keep trying to use the old gestures, so it's going to take me a while to get used to my new setup.
Yeah. Now, there was a friend of mine that was asking me, and maybe because I don't use it, seldom do, is there a way that it would let one know when you touch a dot? Because I think his problem was that when he puts down his fingers, he's not hearing maybe dot one or dot two or something to that effect, and so it's kind of like for him it's like a guesswork. Is there a setting, John, that one could say, when I touch a dot, let me know what dot I'm touching?
No, you can't. It will tell you when you release.
Yeah, so see, that's not good enough.
It won't tell you when you touch. No.
Yeah, so I think they need to fix that to where because if I don't release...
Don't give them any ideas, Warren. I don't want them changing things. They can add a setting that we can opt into, but do not change my default behavior. I will come there. I will come to California and
you'll cut my head off. Yeah, but frankly, I think it'll make sense to have a toggle for people that are just getting started to know what dots they're touching, because it's not going to write that dot unless you let your finger go.
You know what though, Warren? I'll tell you why I don't think it will work is because it doesn't know what dot it is until you've put all your fingers on. Because, for example, well, it's hard to explain, but if you have 3 fingers on the same side and you're not hitting exactly in the right positions, it will still know you're pressing all 3 of those dots on that side because you've touched with 3 fingers, so you don't have to get it exactly right. So it decides what dots you've pressed after it sees where all of your touch points are when you release. So, I mean, maybe if they implemented something like this, they'd have to make it more permanent. Where you touch would have to be exactly right, but I guess it would be possible.
No, I don't think it has to be exact touch, because if in its current state, if you put down your 3 fingers, even if you are not directly on the dots, it knows the positioning of the finger and to what they correspond with. The same thing should be if my ring finger is touching an area, it should know that, I meant this for either dot 3 or whatever. But, frankly, I think it would be more helpful for people who are just getting started, just like the keyboard that we are typing on a virtual QWERTY keyboard. When I touch a key, it tells me what it is, right? So I think it makes sense.
You have to get those exactly right. The point I'm making is, let's say you put your 3 fingers down, you put your index on dot 1, you put your ring finger your
Yeah.
ring finger on dot 2 and you put your middle finger between them. So your middle finger is, so you've actually missed dot 3. You put 2 fingers on dot 1 and dot 2, but you put a finger between them. Then when you release, the keyboard automatically knows you meant to hit all 3 dots. So it will type the letter L. So you don't have to get it exactly right. So that's it. It decides what you've pressed when you release.
Yeah, it makes sense. But, so one of my friends who wanted to use the Braille keyboard, that's his frustration because he's not knowing what dots he's touching. He wants to be able to know before he releases. So, but yeah, anyway, even if something were to be implemented like that, like I said, it has to be a toggle, because someone who kind of understands how it works, for example, like you do, John, would find it very, very disruptive if every time you touch a dot, it tells you what dot you're touching. So
yeah, as long as you can turn it on, do whatever you want, as long as you can turn it on and off.
That's right.
Even if they change the default, like I don't even, it's fine with me even if they change the default behavior. Just let me turn it off at least. Like give me an option to go in there and say, I don't want dots announced,
Okay, I'm not a Braille user. I just used the keyboard maybe when they introduced it, just to test it. So, but shouldn't you put your fingers at the same time and release them at the same time? So how could such feature work?
Yeah, exactly. You'd have to do one finger at a time, or you'd have to wait for it to announce all the dots. I guess it could technically announce all the dots if you were going to sit there and wait for it to. But the thing is, by the time you've already put all your fingers down and you've heard the dots announced, like if you decide it's wrong, what are you going to do? You have to lift up your fingers, and the character's going to be input no matter what. So
exactly.
I mean, if there was a training mode, that would be cool, where it could just announce, similar to the gesture practice you can do. Like maybe if you just wanted to get used to, like, I mean, you can calibrate it to wherever you want, but if you wanted to test it after that, that might be a situation where you would want it to hear the dots, just if you're like practicing where you need to touch after you've calibrated it. But yeah, I don't really see it being that helpful.
But don't they have something like practice mode or something? I remember that.
Well, it does have,
similar.
when you are setting it up, it does have the feature where it will say, okay, type dot 1. So see, that person, I can see where he's coming from. So you put your finger down to hit that dot 1. So how do you know where dot 1 is? And then it tells you do dots 1 and 2. You put your fingers down on. So if you know where dot 1 is by the time you touch it and it says dot 1, then you know that next to that, or if it's on the left that you heard dot 1, or if it's on the right that you heard dot 1, then you know that to the right of that is dot 2, or to the left of that is dot 2. So it does have that, when you're going through. I think maybe if my friend could just practice that a little bit more, it would make more sense to him. And now, Jieshuo, aka Commentary Screen Reader, CSR, or if you're me, the Confused Screen Reader. This is a segment dedicated to this great popular screen reader, where we show you some new feature or some feature that we believe you should be in the know of. And now, for this episode, here's your entry for Jieshuo, aka Commentary Screen Reader. We now move on to our next segment, and we're talking about the CSR, Jieshuo, aka Joshua Screen Reader, if you're my late friend, Austin Pinto. And for me, I always refer to it as the Confused Screen Reader. No, Kareen would cut my head off. But here's Kareen to show us how you could suspend the gestures, which actually makes typing flow faster. So it's a great feature. And here's that pretty girl to show you how you go about suspending gestures on CSR.
Hi. In this episode, I'll be demonstrating the Suspend Screen Reader Gestures function, as well as the feature that suspends the screen reader gestures automatically as long as the keyboard is in focus. Suspend screen reader gestures means that the on-screen Jieshuo gestures are suspended, so you can't perform the regular swipes, angular gestures, multi-finger gestures, and the double tap to activate. However, Browse by Touch will still be active. Volume key presses also work. And to activate an item, you put your finger where the item is located, and then you tap again to activate the item. The next tap should be also where the item is located. To enable the function, you can either select it from the main menu, speak the name using the voice assistant, or assign a gesture to the function. When the function is active and you want to resume the screen reader gestures, you perform the simultaneous pressing of the volume keys gesture. And as usual, this means that you press one volume key, then you press the other quickly and release them together. Also, you can use the voice assistant, so you speak the function name again to resume that screen reader gestures. And you can assign the function to a volume key press because, as I said before, volume key presses are not affected by the suspension of the screen reader gestures. I'm now on the home screen. I will activate the function through the voice assistant. Suspend screen reader gestures.
Screen reader gestures suspended.
Now I can't perform the on-screen gestures, but I can still explore the items on the screen. So I'll put my finger.
Seeing AI.
And then I'm moving my finger.
Error flag. ASR. L middle dot R8. Messages. Gone made. Messages.
I want to activate messages, so I'll tap again where it's located.
Messages. Messages.
You should be aware of the fact that you still need to perform the gestures that require two fingers using two fingers. I mean the gestures like the swipes that you perform when the screen reader is active using two fingers, because Browse by Touch is still active.
Home screen 1 of 2.
I'm now on the home screen again. If I swipe with one finger to the left,
Auto TTS.
it didn't work. So to move to the next page, I will be swiping with two fingers to the left.
Home screen 2 of 2.
And then I'll swipe again to the right to move to the previous page.
Home. Home screen 1 of 2.
I will now use the simultaneous pressing of the volume keys to resume screen reader gestures. 1, 2.
Screen reader gestures
Yes.
resumed.
You might say, why is this function introduced? And what's the benefit of having it? The most important use case of this function is typing. This makes typing much more responsive. And for people who are used to typing with Browse by Touch suspended, it's a great function. I was from those who kept using an old Gboard because typing with Browse by Touch suspended didn't work with the newer Gboard versions until this function was introduced. So now I'm able to type quickly and I don't need to suspend Browse by Touch, and now I'm using the most recent version of Gboard. So the point is, Jieshuo is able now to respond faster to taps when you are using the keyboard, because it's not trying to interpret the touches to see if they are gestures or if the user is trying to double tap. And because of the importance of this function, Jieshuo developer added an option that suspends the use of screen reader gestures whenever the keyboard is in focus. I'll show you the option and how it works. I'll go to screen reader settings.
Main menu. Screen reader settings. Jieshuo Max.
And then advanced settings.
Advanced settings. Advanced settings.
And then typing settings.
Typing settings. Typing settings.
The option is still in Chinese for now.
Checked. OCR and translation.
I'll use Jieshuo's translation to translate it.
Pause screen reading gesture checked when input method pops up.
It's checked, but by default, it's unchecked. I have checked it before.
Home screen 1 of 2. Home. New text note.
I'll open a note in Keep Notes.
Key application icon. Note text box.
When I touch the keyboard area, all screen reader gestures are suspended. But I can still move my finger between the keys because, as I said before, Browse by Touch is not suspended. So I'll try.
Capital H, Hotel. Capital F, capital D, capital S, Sierra, capital A, Alpha, capital F, Foxtrot, F.
When I lifted my finger, it typed the letter F because my finger was on the letter F. I'll delete.
Delete, F deleted.
And I'll try to tap the characters' positions quickly to type.
T, A, I, S, I, S, J, U, S, T, A, T, E, S, T, full stop.
I'll now keep tapping one letter quickly.
S, hash,
It will be the letter S.
S, S.
So I think you have noticed that the typing experience is much better. Now to perform screen reader gestures, my finger should be on an area of the screen other than the keyboard. So I'll put my finger.
This is just a test. This is just a test. Hash sign, group of S's, text box, editing.
And try to swipe.
Add button.
So swiping worked. When you are performing the gesture, if the finger reaches the area where the keyboard is located, the gestures won't work. There's a problem when using this method to type related to items or on-screen keyboard elements that need double tapping to be activated. Even if you tap where the item is located, this won't work and the keyboard element won't be inserted. And I'm talking here about emojis, about clipboard content, and there could be other elements as well. But my main problem personally is with emojis. So when I try to insert an emoji, if double tap to type is not active in the typing settings, this leads to a crash and the element is repeated and repeated again and again until you turn off Jieshuo, then turn it on. And if double tap to type is active, the only thing that happens is that the emoji won't be inserted. So I'll show you.
Enter. Alternatives are available. Resent selected. Smiling face with open mouth. Smiling face with open mouth. Smiling face with open mouth. Emoji.
I tapped 3 times where it's located, but it's not inserted. The workaround is to use click. So you can, for example, use the voice assistant and say click or direct click for direct click. And you can assign a gesture, a volume key press for clicking, the clicking function. And also it's possible to use the already default available function to direct click, which is tapping with 2 fingers, assuming that you haven't changed this. But of course, you should pay attention to the thing that I mentioned before, which is that tapping with 2 fingers should be not where the keyboard is located. So I'll try to perform the gesture on the top.
Grinning face with big eyes. Create group of S's, smiling face with open mouth, smiling face with open mouth. This is just a test. Hash sign, group of S's, smiling face with open mouth, smiling face with open mouth. Text box editing.
So I was able to insert the emoji twice using this way. I try with another emoji.
Disappointed but relieved face, emoji.
click.
Sad but relieved face.
Important note, I'm using Gboard and I can't talk about other keyboards because I haven't tested any of them. I see that typing using this method is better than typing with Browse by Touch suspended because you are still able to explore the other on-screen elements and you can perform gestures, of course if you perform them not in the keyboard area. And you are able also to hear the typed words if you have enabled the option, and you can explore the on-screen keyboard elements if you want to. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Kareen, for that wonderful demonstration. And I'm still waiting for it to come to the Play Store, and then you and I will be on the same page.
Kareen, why you gotta outdo my demo when I just had a talkback highlights about how typing is a little bit better in talkback with 16.1, and then this week you decide to demonstrate, oh well, it could be even better than that with this feature in Jieshuo.
I think I should have moved hers to next week, to be honest. Because there's a little saying that I heard, in Africa that says you can't have two male monkeys sitting on the same branch. So maybe we should move.
Yeah, but I was good enough. I was good enough not to make it in the same week that you did your talkback demo, so people could just compare them.
Well, you have it here with our Talkback Braille keyboard, which is the king of input methods. But so basically rebuffing the fact that, forget about Braille keyboard. You could use suspend gestures and confuse screen reader, and you'll be all bueno.
Yeah, but honestly, people are so much complaining about the lack of a Braille keyboard in Jieshuo. So actually, many people prefer to type with Braille. If you ask them if you prefer this method or the typing with browse with the gestures suspended, so for this reason, I think John wins it this week because actually people prefer to have a Braille keyboard and they are always asking about a Braille keyboard. So yeah, I think Talkback does it it does it pretty good with respect to the Braille keyboard.
Thank you for being gracious. I mean, I'm glad we have both of them here this week. John and I were just messing you up, but frankly, I'm so thankful that we have both of these, and you could have both CSR and Talkback on, and you could just switch between them whenever it calls for the other. It's really great to have both of them. But like I said, tell the guy to bring it to the Play Store so you and I could be on the same page.
We'll see what will happen in 2027 after Google makes the obligation of the verification thing.
Maybe that will help him put it on there. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't need to put it in the Play Store, but maybe he would think about it after that.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't discourage him either. Coming up is our Tip of the Week segment. This is a segment where we show you a trick or two on how to use a certain feature on your phone or any given app. If you have a tip that you'd like to share with our listeners, feel free to send us such a tip to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And now for this week's episode, here's your Tip of the Week. And now to close today's episode is our Tip of the Week as we continue with our miniaturized series on the features found on the Pixel 10. And for this week, here's Magic Q. Hi, Warren here for Blind Android Users Podcast. As we continue with the Tip of the Week series, we're featuring the mini-series on the new features found on the Pixel 10 series. Thus, for this week's episode 250 Tip of the Week, we're demonstrating the Magic Q. I do want to mention here in passing, however, that the Magic Cue is found in both the system settings, as well as going to the phone app, then tapping on the top left corner there on the navigational drawer, and then tapping on settings, and then you scroll down and you'll find the Magic Cue. For this demonstration, I'm utilizing my Pixel 10 XL Pro, which is the 1 TB version that comes in the Moonstone colors. Really beautiful device. I am in my system settings, and the Magic Cue is found just below that digital well-being. I'll now move on to Magic Cue.
Magic Cue, personalized suggestions and actions, 24 of 28.
And I tap.
Magic Cue, navigate up, button, out of list.
Upon tapping on Magic Cue, though, I would like us to kind of look at the top and hear some of the information regarding the feature.
Magic Cue uses AI to proactively show useful details and time-saving actions relevant to what's on your phone.
Now, below that, on the right is a toggle which turns it off or on. And in order to be able to take advantage of this, it has to be turned on. By default, it's turned on. And so if I move my finger down and to the right, or if you're a swiper, just simply swipe.
On. Find info instantly. Magic Cue shows you the info you need based on what you're doing on screen, so you don't have to go find it. Learn more about info suggestions. Switch.
Now, below here are the items or apps that are supported. I do want to mention here, however, that it's not every app that is supported. The only apps that are supported right now are a few Google apps. In other words, just a handful of Google apps. And below are the apps that are supported. Here we go.
On. Finish tasks faster. When you need to finish a task in another app, Magic Cue shows you a link to complete the action. Learn more about action suggestions. Switch.
Next.
On. Get suggestions while using apps. When Magic Cue has suggestions while you're using certain apps, they appear at the bottom of your screen. Learn more about suggestions in apps. Switch.
Next.
Data sources for suggesting info or actions.
Next.
Use data from specific apps. Choose which apps Magic Cue should use data from.
We'll come back to this because it's important. Next.
On. Use data from recent screen activity. Allow Magic Cue to review recent screen activity. Learn more about using recent activity data. Switch.
Next.
On. Use foundational data. Allow the use of foundational data, such as the email and phone number from your Google account. Learn more about using foundational data. Switch.
Next.
Magic Cue updates.
And below that we'll be told as to whether or not it's up to date.
Up to date.
Next.
How it works.
That's a heading there, and below that it will tell
Magic
you.
Cue uses AI to offer you personalized suggestions based on your selected data sources, such as recent screen activity and certain Google app data.
Next.
You choose the apps Magic Cue can use data from in Magic Cue settings. These could include Gmail, Calendar, Keep, and Tasks data from your primary Google account, and contacts, messages, and screenshots data on your device.
Next.
Make sure you double-check suggestions before sharing any info.
Next.
Your privacy.
And that's a heading. Next.
Your Magic Cue app data and recent screen activity are protected in a secure, isolated environment. Unless you choose to share it, that data is kept private.
Next.
By using Magic Cue, you agree to Google's Terms of Service, AI Prohibited Use Policy, and Privacy Policy.
And that's the last item. And now let's go back to the middle section of the phone and tap on the item that I had indicated we'll be returning to, and that will be
use data from specific apps. Choose which apps Magic Cue should use data from.
In other words, when we tap here, we'll see the different apps that could take advantage of the Magic Cue, and we could choose as to whether or not we want to use them alongside with Magic Cue. So I'll tap here.
Use data from specific apps. Navigate up, button.
We're now in that window, and putting my finger near the top, we've got the following.
Choose which apps Magic Cue should use data from when suggesting info and actions. You control how data is shared from apps to power Magic Cue.
And below that, on the right corner, is an off-on switch. And
on. Use app data. Switch.
And now moving on.
Apps.
Here are the apps that are supported.
On. Pixel screenshots. Switch. On. Gmail. Switch. On. Messages, switch. View all, button.
And we got view all, and I'm going to tap.
Your Magic Q app data and recent screen activity are protected in a secure, isolated environment. Unless you choose to share it, that data is kept private. On. Keep notes, switch. On. Contacts, switch. On. Calendar, switch.
And that's the last item that we see here that support the Magic Q. I hope, though, that developers would make their apps take advantage of this so we could have other apps that support the Magic Q. And that would be it for this episode's tip of the week. And as always, if you like what we're doing, do not forget to subscribe to our channel. And again, thanks for listening. And that's it about Magic Q. Something we do want to mention here in passing. It's sometimes it's a hit or miss, or most of the time it may not even work. So it's one of those things that Google has a good intention, but it may take it a while for it to be working well the way it's intended to. Because John and I have tried it. I swear I tried it once and it worked, and then John and I tried it a couple times with each other, and it did not work. John, you want to?
Yeah, I got a recommendation. I got a calendar. So I did see somebody mentions like a date and a time, and there was a button that I could just easily press to add it to the calendar. But as far as like the demonstration they did during the Pixel event of like somebody asking you, from my understanding, it's supposed to like know what's in your Gmail inbox and get information for you. Like I believe the example they did was asking for a flight number, and it just had the flight number down there for you to double tap on as like a suggestion. And I've tried it a couple of times, asking me from my from my second phone, asking me information that is in my inbox, and it hasn't suggested anything yet. And I haven't noticed it just in regular conversations. Like I said, the only thing I've noticed is it giving me the option to add something to my calendar.
Yeah, and then you and I tried sending text messages to each other. I was asking you as to what color or how much you got your Pixel 10 for, and you were asking me as to what color was my Pixel 10 and all of that. It didn't show up because that thing should be in my email, and the intent would be that it will grab that and have it at the bottom and show me what that color was or how much you paid for your device and all of that, but it didn't work. All good things must end. Thus, it's curtain drawing time, bringing us to the close of this week's episode. Coming up, though, we give you information on how to get hold of us. Well, folks, with that thing not working well, that's a Magic Q, we come to the end of this week's episode. As always, John gives you information on how you can get hold of us. Here's John now to give you information on how you can get hold of us. John?
To contact us, simply send an email to contactus@blindandroidusers.com. If you'd prefer, you can leave a voicemail by calling +1 307 202 9797. You can join our mailing list by sending a blank email to Blind Android Users plus subscribe @groups.io. You can join our Facebook and Telegram groups or subscribe to our YouTube channel using the links in the podcast show notes or YouTube video description. And you can find all of this information and more at our website, blindandroidusers.com.
Thank you so much, John, for that information. And we do want to thank you again, guys, for listening to us week in, week out. And with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. From me, I want to say goodbye, have a great week, and see you next week.
Thanks for listening to all 250 episodes so far, and you'll hear me next week.
Have a great week. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. Until we see you next week, don't forget to leave us your comments and suggestions via our email contact or using any of our social media sites. Have a great week.